Felt like I was a spy. That kind of blew it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know why we're singing.
We've never done this.
We're
What if we
just
had an
going
all
at it.
musical version of Come Together Morning Show?
What if we had to sing it, and what if it had to rhyme
Oh.
the entire time we're
I
on
think
this
that would
thing?
be very hard.
It would be so difficult. So I already didn't rhyme.
Yeah. What rhymes with difficult?
Smifical. Good morning.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Difficult, lemon difficult.
I was hoping you would say that. Good morning, everyone.
Hi. Welcome to the We're Better When We Come Together
Morning show.
with Dr. Teri and this dude.
Chris Murphy.
That's me.
Yeah. Hello.
Welcome,
Good
welcome.
morning. How is everyone?
Are we surviving
I don't know.
in many different
I
levels?
feel like it's a bit early to ask that kind of question.
Truth, yeah. Well, we're still rocking and rolling. We've got people flowing in. They're
Yes.
flowing in.
Flowing. We're going to be talking this week. Our 20th anniversary is on Wednesday.
Wednesday, just 3 short days away.
Which, I don't know. Does it feel to you like saying we've been married for 20 years makes you feel very old?
Yeah, kinda.
I know.
To be honest, I'm on my second cup of coffee too. Just a second ago, right before we went live, Terry went out on our side porch at the house. And she's like, "Oh man, it's raining," and I said, "It's pouring. The old man is snoring," and I was like, "I wonder who that would be." I guess that's me now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't feel like it. I hear people that that are a bit older. I was gonna say old people, but now if I fall in that category, it just is bizarre. So I hear people say like, I don't feel that way. I still feel like I'm 20 years old inside, even though the outside is looking different. And I feel that way.
I know. Are you still looking for the more adultier adult in the room whenever someone's looking for an adult? I saw that one time. I don't remember where I saw it, but I was like, yeah, that feels accurate.
Yep.
Right? But no, like if something went down, our children would look to us for what to do.
Scary days we're living in. If that's the case, then
Kind of is. That's now.
yeah.
That's happened now.
Yeah. It is.
And I have to say, as much Walking Dead as we've watched, it didn't make me feel more prepared for what's happening right now.
No, I mean, there are a whole lot less zombie-like people out on the trails that we walk.
One of my favorite things that I did yesterday, I posted on Instagram, and it should have posted on Facebook too. Do one thing today that nourishes you.
Yeah.
What I did yesterday, I woke up instantly in a panic. Instantly was anxious and already felt like bad things were going to happen, and I was already behind, and
As soon as you
everything
woke up?
was failing from like 6:30 in the morning. Like my heart was having palpitations. It's just anxiety at what's happening. Just,
Yeah.
I think honestly, like feeling out of control, even though we're never really in control. There's like this illusion of control when you manage your schedule and you get to say where you go and what you do in a lot of different ways. And I don't know, I woke up panicky, and so I know when that's happening I tend to go in my head and I want to like work harder and push harder and do something to try and get me out of those feelings. But what I've been trying to practice is what I share with clients and what I try to help my kids with, which is, can you get back into your heart, back down out of your head and into your body, ground yourself. That's what grounding means. If you hear therapists or psychologists talk about grounding, it's how do you help yourself stay in the present moment so that your mind isn't racing, you don't end up having like an anxiety attack or panic. You can even do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise using all of your senses, like 5 things you see, 4 things that you hear, 3 things that you smell, 2 things that you touch, and 1 thing that you taste, something like that. You can go through all of the 5 senses.
I like that.
That's grounding.
Yeah.
What I did is my son was sitting on the front porch with our dog, and it was really bright and sunny and kind of warm. So I just went outside and I sat on a cushion he'd put on the floor right next to him, and he laid down. I took my journal and a mug of coffee, and I just sat in the sun, and we set a timer, and we both just focused on our breath, and it really did actually help me center, come back to myself, ground me a little bit. And then I was journaling. So my sister and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday too. So I'll share this here before we talk a little bit about our story and what we're going to be talking about this week, relationship wise. But we were just chatting over text and talking about how it's like you'll be okay, and then there's this wave of emotion, and it feels like nothing's okay, and it's not going to be okay, and it can really take you on a spiral. And then it's like, if you
anybody feel that too,
can get back to this grounding place, then it's like, oh, okay, I'm okay again. And then the wave will come again, and then it will be okay again. And Chris talked about this a bit last week, but I would say part of that is grief, the stages of grief that we're in. Like initially, denial 100% is where I was at, which we can also really call shock. And shock/denial doesn't mean I totally know what it is. I'm just going to pretend like it's not there. It can be that. What it's more likely about is I just can't take it all in at once. Like it's too much to take in. Like someone saying to you there's a worldwide pandemic that's going to impact you, that's a hard thing to process and to take in. And I think we're all still processing that a little bit. Second stage is anger, which I go back and forth back into when I see people breaking rules or just running around and playing or making fun of people who are taking this seriously, or even anger at myself because I didn't catch it quick enough, or, you know, like the anger could be about anything. Anger at the government, anger at politics, anger at TV, angry at canceled trips and canceled plans. Like there could be all manner of grief around that. And that's part of the process. If you don't get in touch with your anger about what's happening, it's going to stall you out, and it's going to end up coming out sideways in some other way. I watched yoga_girl on Instagram. She posted for the first time I've ever seen anybody post this, number one, and her post this in particular. She's all about yoga and bliss and meditation, couple F-bombs, so totally love her. But she did this practice where she was really just getting all of her emotions up and out, like throwing cushions, hitting them, yelling, crying, like really getting the emotions up and out.
Oh, that's who that was that you were watching? Mm-hmm. Okay, wow.
Beautiful experiential work, a really great practice. From there, we move into sadness, depression, despair, which is kind of this giving up the hope that things are going to stay the way they were. It's part of the process on the way to acceptance, which is, how can I accept this new normal? And you have to go through your anger and your sadness and your guilt and fear and anxieties. Like all of those things are part of the process on the way to acceptance. And when you get to acceptance, it doesn't mean that you never have any feelings anymore or you're totally fine. It just means that you're processed. Like you've processed a lot of what's happening. You're able to really feel more of your feelings. But you bounce around in the stages of grief. They're not linear. They're more like this.
Yeah, I felt like that when I've grieved in the past, I am not doing it appropriately because I'm like,
I'm finished with anger now.
I'm back at anger. And I thought that I was through that. And yeah, you're right. It does bounce around.
So can you let your body help you with your emotions? That's what your body's designed to do. So here's the best example that I always like to give. Different emotions are like different dash lights on your car. When the gas light pops on in your car, it needs gas. You don't fill your oil tank when your gas light is on. And also, talking about your gas light is not going to make the light go off. Sure. So just saying like, oh, interesting, gas light, and then try to talk it out. Hey, gas light, no, it's not time for you to be on. Or I don't
how sassy you are to these inanimate objects.
I don't have time to put gas in my car. I'm just going to keep going. Mm-hmm. You're going to break down. And human beings are exactly the same way. So if your dash light's coming on, that emotion is coming up, if you just stay with it, stay in your body, stay just a second longer, you're going to get some new information that's going to come up in that kind of a place, right? And then if you can do that and stay with that emotion as that starts to unfold for you, then if you can name it, it will help you start regulating. And then here's the really important thing. Nervous systems that we have as human beings You're not meant to really hold your emotion on your own. We are social creatures, we're mammals. We're meant to share emotions. So your emotions inside of you are going to be dealt with much easier if you can share the load. Share the cognitive load, share your emotion when you can name that, share that with your partner if you can, FaceTime, talk to someone who is safe, who you're connected to, and see if you can just share that place. A couple things will happen if you can do that. Number one, name it to tame it. Sue Johnson talks about this. Dan Siegel talks about this. If you can name what's happening.
Those are therapist-y people.
If you can name what's happening inside, it starts to help you organize and make sense of what that place is. Now, note, a lot of us grew up in families where we didn't talk about emotions and nobody helped us make sense of them. And if that's the case for you, then what's happening inside right now in the midst of all of this might feel very overwhelming, mysterious, confusing. That's okay. It's no less valid. So what will probably start to happen is you're going to need a little bit of help naming and making sense of what's happening inside. You're wired to do emotion, whether you can name it or not. It's going to come up and it's going to happen, but it's what we do with those places that really helps us to feel so much better. So if a gas light came on and I didn't know because I never filled my car up before, nobody ever told me what that gas light was about, I might not have any idea what to do. But the moment that someone says, oh, that's your gas light, that's a gas light, and what we do when your gas light comes on is we're going to pop the little gas tank open, we're going to be at the gas station, we're going to fill that tank up, and then you're going to be full, and the light's going to go off. So the same thing, let's just say the gas light is sadness in this case. So if I'm sitting with someone who's having all of that happen, then my job is to help them regulate as a therapist, as a mom, to say, okay, that sounds like sadness to me, what you're talking about, right? When you talk about that pit that happens in your stomach, right, that's really coming up, that kind of empty place inside, it feels like you've lost something, that's sadness. And what is it that you need right now as you're feeling that? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Help to start putting words to that experience, right? When I feel that inside, right, what I really need is to go to Chris and to tell him about what it feels like I've lost here, right? And then can you just be with me in that place? If I can ask him what I need, right? Because the need is like the gas in the tank. Knowing that I need gas is not the same thing as filling the tank up. So this is very experiential. It's very much about what you're doing. Journaling can be really helpful. If you can't connect with someone or you don't feel so safe to really talk and explore those kind of things, there are a lot of different ways that you can get help about that. Highly recommend. Teletherapy has never been more accessible than now, online therapy.
It's true.
You just find someone in your same state that you live in and get in touch with someone. If that's wonderful work to be doing right now. You can also read tons of books. I, of course, am a huge fan of Dr. Sue Johnson, who created emotionally focused therapy, the modality that both of us work in. It's all about focusing on emotion and the process of emotion. The way you can think about emotion really is, I feel it in my body, I get a story in my mind based on whatever that feeling is, and then based on the feeling in my body and the story in my mind, I do something as a result of that. Feel, think, do. All of those together are your emotion, right? And so sometimes when we do things and we're like, WTF, why did I just do that? If you walk it back and go to what was the story in my mind right before that, and then trace it back into your body, you can probably catch that feeling and go back into your childhood or back earlier on and find the things that really created this knee-jerk response for you.
So for me, my quick hack that I have to do, instill, it's like sometimes it's hard for me to remember my right from my left. And so I have to, in my head, sometimes even at 41 years old, I have to go like, right hand goes on the heart. Okay, this is my right hand. And now I've got it. Is that how
you do it? You don't do this one, like that's my left?
Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do right hand goes on my heart kind of thing.
Neither of us know our right from our left, clearly.
And so I still have to do a micro check-in with myself to remember my right and my left sometimes. I don't know why it never really solidified in my brain, but I have to do that really quickly. So for me and emotions, it's a similar thing. I have been working for the last 10 or 15 years to really get in touch with what those are for me. And so I have to now do this sentence like, I feel blank because I need blank.
That's
And
good.
so sometimes,
I like that.
especially right now, I think that all of us, because of this worldwide pandemic that we find ourselves in, we are all going through some stage
No one's
in the
fine,
grief process.
y'all. No, we're
So-
collectively experiencing crisis as well as individually. And that's a unique sort of place that we find ourselves.
Absolutely.
The conclusions or the comparisons that I keep seeing this drawn to is like war.
Yeah.
And I don't have like a better sort of metaphor because I haven't been through a pandemic or any of that. I was trained for war, having been in the military. Like, it feels the closest to something like that.
Yeah.
I had you write with your right hand. That's what you
That does help as well, yes. So quickly, what are the 5 stages?
That ties into our story too that we're about to tell.
Let's
what
do
you're
it.
saying.
Yeah.
What
What are
is
the
this?
quick 5 stages of grief?
Denial or shock, anger, bargaining, which we didn't really talk about, which is, hey, if I just whatever, then maybe this. Like, maybe if I don't pay attention to what's on the news, then I'll feel better and it won't feel like the world is changing and never going to be the same again. Or sometimes we bargain with God, or sometimes the universe, or sometimes it could be any kind of thing. So bargaining, sadness, despair, depression. It's really kind of giving up the hope that things will go back to the way they were, or that it's not that big of a deal. It's like, holy crap, this is real and not going anywhere. And then acceptance.
Yeah.
But you bounce around, like if you do like this, you bounce all around in there.
So for me,
Caitlin.
I'm currently, in this situation that we all are in, I'm kind of bouncing in and out of these all day.
Yeah.
Really depending on where I'm at. So sometimes I have to say,
That's okay.
I'm feeling sadness because things aren't the way that they used to be. Right now, we're supposed to be like getting ready to go to lunch in Ireland right now because
should be
for our
around
20th
there.
anniversary, we had planned that trip. We ended up canceling that about 2 weeks ago because
Look
of
at
this.
that. You can see exactly where I was asleep earlier. Do you guys brush your hair when you get up in the morning?
When you go live,
Sorry,
don't you?
guys. Sorry.
So I've got some anger that I'm not able to go through that, and then at other moments I'm like, it's okay. We'll end up going to Ireland at some point. It's all right.
It's a vacation. We're on a vacation right now.
And
This is fine.
but sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's bargaining. Like, you know what? Hey, if we can just like go for a walk, we'll feel so much better because I need to just work out my emotions. So wherever you're at in the process, and feel free to write in the comments where you're currently at in this, because again, I think all of us are going through the stages of grief. And so if we can just say it to each other, and I appreciate some folks over here, Mom, Amy, Kitty, a couple of people mentioning where they're currently at. If you can say it out loud, maybe it will help you here in this moment.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that we wanted to share with you this week is a bit about our story and how we got to this point. 20 years
Feel you, Amy.
married. 20 years married.
Oof. Been a while.
20 years. 20 years.
Been a hot minute.
So, but we're not going to start with getting married. We're going to go back because we've actually known each other.
Gonna go back in time. Sorry.
We should have a graphic of a DeLorean fly right here.
Yeah.
Oh, we should post that picture your mom sent us. So, we don't hit a wall once, we hit a wall multiple times. Yeah, that's actually completely true. We're gonna hit a lot of walls, and we're gonna slide down the wall, crumple, maybe cry, get angry, whatever, and then we're gonna stand up and then we're gonna keep moving through that one, but then another one's gonna come. I love that. That's exactly right, Caitlin. Or like waves in the ocean, right? There's always like another wave is gonna pop in, but it helps. It really does help. There's tons of research on this. It helps though when we can collectively come together and move through this together, and to move through it with openness. Like when you feel yourself tightening up and wanting to shrink away and pull into scarcity and fear and anxiety, that's okay. Just acknowledge that part, but then can you breathe and kind of stay open?
I'm glad we're not in Ireland as well, and thank you very much for saying that you're grateful that we're here. We're here because we all want to be with all of you as well. We thought this is a good way to do that. Early in the morning, even if if a lot of us aren't going into the office like we normally do, or into work, or even if you're at work right now and listening to this, we appreciate the community that we can all be here together.
So we're going to talk about our story, how we met. And your mom's over there on Facebook, so you can verify this, right, Mama? So we met when we were
3
years old.
Yeah.
We were 3 and carpooled to preschool. Chris's mom actually carpooled us, and my mom did too.
Yeah.
And we've been friends since we were 3, before your brother was born even. Like, we've known each other longer than he's known his brother. Right? Verify this, Mama?
Pretty
right?
wild.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, we've been friends
y'all.
since probably, 1981, 82?
Had to have been 82 because I was born in 79.
Somewhere in there.
1982. 3 years old. Can you believe that?
So we went to preschool, and there were 3 families who carpooled to preschool. The McCords, the Murphys, and the Fultons.
Yeah. What street were you on Stakely then?
I was on Stakely
And
Drive in
Washington
Prattville,
Ferry.
Alabama.
Yep, Prattville, Alabama.
And so that
tiny rural town back then. If you've driven anywhere down 65 on your way to like the beach, you've probably stopped to pee in our hometown because it's a beautiful exit now.
And if you live in the Nashville area, it's like
halfway
between Nashville and the beach. So
exit
it's a great
179.
place to stop and get lunch.
Stops there. Have a good meeting, Amy. See you tomorrow.
Have a good morning.
Yeah, so it was not like that. And we're going to sound like the old people that I feel like we are as we're talking about our 20th.
I mean, come on.
But those were all just horse pastures and farmland when we were growing up.
Yeah, cotton fields.
Tiny town. And I think I did a school project in high school. We had 17,000 people in either our city or our county. I can't remember right now. But we had one public school system, K through 12, one public school that everybody went to when we were growing up. Now, it was broken into kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th, 9th through 12th. But everybody went to those schools unless you went to the one private school out in our county or went out to Montgomery to like the Catholic private school or Montgomery Academy. I think those were the main 2 that people would
There's a couple of them.
end up going to, and then there was another one. But if you went to school there, you were in all the grades together. So not only did we know each other since we were 3 and were carpooled to preschool together, but then kindergarten through 12th grade, we were in the same school system as well. And we were friends all of that whole time. Now, the closeness and distance kind of shifted depending, like all kids, right? Whoever's in your actual class, you tend to know better and feel closer to when you're in middle school, which is developmentally appropriate. But as we started to age and grow, I feel like things started to shift around junior high. We started getting all hormonal. And
the age that our children are now.
Puberty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's a freaky fact. I got married at 20 and you were 21. Our son is only 6 years away from that right now.
Grief.
I don't even understand.
Yeah. That is,
Holy geez.
yeah, wow. Hey, quick random side note.
Hey, hometown friend.
Random side note. Something somebody said like Tuesday or Wednesday of last week on the morning show of like an Instagram feed that you look at that's like got all kind of positive stuff. I know that
Good news.
I don't remember which one it is, but if you are on and you're the one that said that, I couldn't find the comment when I tried to go back. So it's like looking for good things, and somebody mentioned. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, maybe that's it. Sorry, side note. And then back to our originally.
Hey, do you guys want to help us with our administrative work while we're in the middle
No,
of our
I've just been
show?
wanting to be inspired. So.
Okay. So we met at 3 and then we went to school all together, but I would say stuff shifted in 7th grade. His girlfriend was my junior high best friend. We cheered together. We were in the same math and science classes. I was kind of nerdy, I would say. You have a different view of me than kind of how I saw myself. I saw myself as kind of like awkward, nerdy, a little shy.
I saw yourself as hot, sexy, cheerleader.
Sexy in 8th grade?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard now for me because my children are the exact same age.
It's weird too because all of the people that we dated throughout our formative years, we were friends with all of them.
What would it be like to know every single ex that your partner's ever had?
That's pretty much the case with us.
I think there might be like 2 or 3 people that we just didn't know, and that's because that period of time in like senior year / freshman year of college before we started dating.
Yeah. So we knew each other and were friends all the way from 3 until about 16 years old. And then briefly in high school,
Wait, before you move to that part.
Oh, okay.
In junior high, noticed Chris kind of in a different way. Like stuff started to feel a little bit different. He was kind and funny and had this amazing faith, which was kind of different than a lot of people at that age. You weren't like disgusting and vile and ugly to girls. You were like nice and kind of kind. Hey, bro. And my best friend was dating you, but here's literally the story I can remember in my mind was they're not going to stay together because it's junior high. So she's like wasted her chance here in junior high to be with this awesome guy. I'm just going to wait it out. And I know maybe possibly eventually we'll get to be together.
Which plays into a few years later when we actually did date in high school. We went on a couple dates.
10th grade. We were 16 years old, both of us. It was over Christmas break in high school.
She had you had a babysitting gig.
Oh, yeah.
And during that babysitting gig, we decided to go to the zoo. And we were like, hey, we'll go to the zoo so you can take the person that you're babysitting. And that'll be nice. I
love the zoo.
We can go there. And so we went to the zoo for our first date, which was actually just a
daytime babysitting job.
Exactly. That was the first date. But we went on a couple of other dates around that same time.
You were working at an all fried food buffet.
Fantail Seafood Buffet. I was a dishwasher.
Literally every single food was fried. Yeah. So it was a buffet of vats of oil and grease.
I basically always smelled like fried seafood, which is not a very romantic smell.
So bad. It was like rancid. Didn't you burn your clothes at the end of that job?
I couldn't get the smell out, so I just burned them. Just in like, I'm finally done with this job. Burn it, baby! Get out of there.
Fried food buffet. Mm-hmm. I mean, even just thinking about it gives me like heart.
Well, let's be honest. It doesn't say fried food buffet on the sign. It says seafood buffet, but all of the seafood,
was there
except
anything
for like
that wasn't fried other than the sauces and the saltines?
The chocolate pudding wasn't fried.
Okay. Yep.
There was a salad option, and there was a coleslaw option.
There.
Yeah, there was salad there.
Did you make the salad?
No, I did not. We took them out of bags and dumped them in a big hopper.
I bet if they could have found a way to fry that pudding, they would have.
Oh, chocolate pudding fried. It's like when the first time I heard about fried Twinkies, I was like, I'm in.
I'm in for that.
Yeah.
I will actually eat a boot if it was fried well. You know what I mean? Like, you can take the girl out of Alabama, but you can't take the Alabama out.
Mom's remembering there was a whole salad bar. So see, not everything was fried.
So.
But you could put like croutons, fried bread croutons on.
True. Yeah. Something fried had to be a part of this business. And I bet people made salad and put the fried stuff on top. Fried clams. Yeah. You should do it like from Forrest Gump, like fried clams. We had fried shrimp. We had fried oysters. We had fried fish. We had fried catfish. Fried hush puppies.
Fried everything.
Yeah.
But we're going to market, sell, and become millionaires off of fried chocolate pudding.
You heard it here, folks.
Okay, but this can't be like a 4-hour show. So we dated a little bit.
We're not telling the whole story, by the way.
We dated a little bit, but then I started thinking to myself the same thing that you thought to yourself when I was dating your friend, which was like, every girl that I date between now and when I get married, I'm going to break up with until I find the one. And I got scared because, again, we've known each other since we were 3 years old. I really liked her as a friend, but then I also really liked her. And so I kind of froze and I did not know what to do. And so I did what every 10th or 11th grade boy would do, which is I just stopped talking to her and acted like everything went back to normal.
What do we call it now?
Ghosting. What is the lamp lighting?
Gaslighting. So
yeah.
Here, he served me up a buffet of mental health issues is basically what it was.
I did.
Here's what he did. We went back to school after Christmas break, and this joker pretended like we were never dating. He just went back to like, hey friend, high five.
What up, dog?
What's up? And just acted as if we had never dated before. Yeah. Like nothing had ever happened. And so I was totally ghosted, but in a weird way. He didn't just like disappear. Texting didn't exist, by the way, if if you were wondering. Cell phones barely did. My friend Christy, who you dated, had a bag phone, which, if you weren't alive in this time, was literally in your car, this thing that plugged into your lighter.
All the cool rich people had bag phones back in those days.
Like a jack that you plug into your lighter.
Yeah, you put it in your cigarette lighter in your car.
And the cell phone was literally in a bag and looked like a big phone, but it was a cell phone. Anyway, so
it was all wired up. It was
totally
not wireless.
ghosted me, pretended like none of it ever happened, and then he gaslit me, because then if I was like, hey, remember when we were dating? He'd be like, hey, friend, like, we're just friends. It's going to be awesome. So here's what I did. I just let it roll. I was like, you know what? Great. We're going to both do that then. We're just going to both pretend like we're just friends. And I'm just going to move the H on.
I know.
And I'm going to just start dating other people who want to be with me. Which is like, I know. Serenity now.
I'm feeling...
Because then listen to what happened after that. So I started dating like this popular baseball player who was a friend of ours also since we were little kids. In fact, little known fact, his name is Chad. He played Prince Charming and I played Cinderella in our 3rd grade play.
If we're looking at their story right now, it seems like it was meant to be. No. But they didn't know what the future held. And that my goal, actually, even though it was ghosting and gaslighting you, my plan worked out. We broke up.
Not
we
pretend
broke up
like this
so
is
that
your
we could get back
ultimate
together
goal.
in the
I
time
will not
that we needed
have
to be
it,
there.
guys. If I did a poll right now, I do not think that it would end up coming out looking awesome. But anyway, so I started dating other people. What's so funny is to this day, I think there's still like a little tinge of jealousy or maybe even like regret or something around.
With me?
Yeah, that time.
I'm getting angry. I'm getting like
You're
jealous sweats right now.
That's so fun. Chad.
We're waking up our neighbors over
I
here.
know. Sorry, Daddy.
We're going to bring down the volume just a smidge.
No, we're not going to bring it down.
Just a smidge.
Look.
Just a smidge.
We have our sound machine on in the hall so we don't wake Cooper.
They can't hear that. They just hear us.
All right, so let's continue this saga.
Okay,
so I went to college in Montgomery, Alabama, which was very close to our hometown, about 30 minutes away, but I lived on campus at least for my whole freshman year. And it was really weird. My parents had gone through this really significant and horrifying divorce. And I was like, deuces, I got to get the heck out of Dodge as soon as I can. I had a scholarship there. So went to school there, loved the college that I went to. Amazing, wonderful college experience. On the one hand, academically, my professors, a lot of the friendships I had. But on the other hand, my mental health was really starting to decline a lot. Like all the stuff I had not felt safe enough or known how to really deal with through all the stuff with my parents and just some issues that were going on in my family of origin, I started really slipping into this pretty deep depression at that point. And I've talked about it a little bit on my podcast that is paused right now, but I went really in depth into that sort of story about mental health. And neither of us really grew up going to therapy. So it wasn't like I would have thought, I should see a counselor. We didn't have a college counseling center. Things are so different from 20 years ago, 23 years ago. 23 years ago.
Something like that.
And so parallel, I'm at college trying to hold everything together, drinking a lot, eating a lot, not knowing how to manage my own emotions, trying to numb some of that stuff out, trying to look at the positive while inside feeling really down. Now, parallel to that, what were you up to after you graduated from high school?
Graduated from high school, and I knew what my life path was going to be. And it hasn't stayed there, but in those days, I was going to become a youth pastor, and I was going to...
Huzzah!
I was going to be a youth pastor until I was too old to relate to the kids, and then I would transition into being a pastor of a church. Mm-hmm. That was my goal, and that's what I pursued. So I actually...
May I say a note really quick?
I guess you can.
Let me rewind just a little bit to 10th grade again.
No,
this joker right here quit playing varsity football to focus on his music and his art. And so he used to, I'm not kidding, grab the guitar and would be playing Hootie and the Blowfish, which in 1996 was a big effing deal. And he would sing Hootie and the Blowfish outside a youth group under the lamplight So like we had just learned about Jesus and like being chased and whatnot, and then out there we were all like, I would get on Chris. I want to make out with that dude.
Hey.
Look at that sexy
Hey.
guitar strumming artisty. Like no one was that way.
I only want to be with you.
Don't sing that while we're on the air. I'll instantly turn pink and take me right back to that place.
Hey, if we need to make out on the air, we need to make out on the air. That's what I'm just saying.
We cannot.
Darius
So there we
Rucker does it every time.
So anyway, picture that. And so always for your whole life, as long as I've known you, animals and children have been drawn to him. Like
Okay. Didn't know where you were going with that.
Like Peter Piper. Like he just
Peter Piper?
has this, yeah.
Is that what the Piper's name is? Peter?
Yeah, he played the flute and then all the
Peter
children
the
followed him out of
Piper.
town, but it's a really dark story. Anyway, not his, but the Peter Piper one. So, no, you could play the guitar, and like that was really the skill set of a youth pastor when we were growing up, was like, can you play the guitar? Can you sing? And can you be around
Can you dominate at broom hockey?
people? Can you play broom hockey?
Broom
Another
hockey sounds like
side
something
note.
you say when you're mad. Oh, broom hockey.
Broom hockey. I actually like that cuss.
Yeah.
Broom hockey, by the way, if you didn't grow up in Southern youth groups, and I don't know if this was more national or regional, and since we grew up together, we're not a good fact checker for what things happened outside of our small town, so you guys can let us know. But broom hockey, you go at midnight to an ice skating rink, usually in your local mall, and they
Eastdale Mall.
everything else would be shut down, but they would let us in. And you would wear sneakers and take brooms, and you would play hockey on the ice with other people, and fall a lot, gets near concussed most of the time.
Near?
One
I
of
think full
all I
concussions.
can remember is significant amounts of pain from broom hockey. I never scored a goal or really did anything other than take elbows from boys.
Yeah, I was going to say what it usually turned into was everybody would go to broom hockey with the best of intentions.
was a brawl.
And then
Get your frustration
the
out.
dudes would get too aggressive.
Yes.
And the girls would then start backing off. And
We all
so then the
cry,
girls
just
would
let
just
it
hang
cry.
out and like drink a soda
Yep.
while the guys just like murdered each other on the ice. And then we would all come back together.
And
There
then
was
they
usually
get
like one or
yeah.
three girls that would stick around, but that like the really like
Aggressive, yeah.
well, not necessarily aggressive, but just like I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna get in there. And so
I
yeah,
couldn't
that
do
was always a fun time.
I got bonked in the nose so hard that I was like, never again. And I never
All right,
did.
we're cutting this off
Okay.
on our marriage day, just so and then we'll move on from there.
Okay.
Because we
could go all day.
and so yeah.
So go
and
back to college.
And
You
so
were going to be a youth pastor.
I was studying to become a youth pastor
in Florida.
So we grew up since we were 3 years old, like down the street from each other essentially. And then when we finally started dating, we were 3 hours apart. So when we finally got
Long
serious,
distance
it was a long distance
relationship.
relationship, which was fun. Because I had the opportunity to, be with you as much as I wanted to right down the street, but then we were 3 hours apart because I was down in Florida, you were in Central Alabama.
And then commenced a time.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm about to skip. Commenced a time where we almost lost our life a bunch of times. So Chris's mom, you might want to
Yeah, just mute
plug
this,
your ears,
Mom.
Mama, for a little bit. So, but before that, how did we get reconnected, even though we were long distance?
Yeah, so back in those days, I played a lot of music. Before I became a youth pastor or youth minister, I was studying to become one, and so we also, in college, I was a part of this Bible study that met every Tuesday night called Ichthus.
In Montgomery, Alabama.
Yep, and so I would play music there, but when I went off to school, I had to put that on pause because again, that was 3 hours away. But they asked me to come back and do it was like a Thanksgiving, service or Thanksgiving time that we were all going to be together.
Pause.
And they asked me and my friend who played music together to come and to
Play.
to do a song or three.
Like a special performance
Yeah.
in the middle of the youth group thing. Like if you grew up in church on special Sundays, they'd have like a guest singer come in and like sing while they were taking up the offering. That was what you guys did.
Right.
Pause. Rewind. Remember depression, separation, all that stuff. I went home. I moved home for a semester to, I think it was my mom's house. I can't really remember. Swiss cheese brain around trauma around that time. So one of the things that was amazing, there are these two girls that lived across the hall from me, roommates, who both of their names were Katie. So I just called them the Katies. And the Katies invited me to come to Ichthus, this college night kind of a thing, and I put it off and put it off. I'd grown up in church and had some injuries around that. Like when my parents went through their divorce, our youth pastor said to us, "You're welcome to come back to church as soon as your parents get back together." And to me, I associated that with God and with the church rather than with that one person and their opinion. So I kind of stayed away from church for a while, so I was a bit hesitant about going. But I went, and I had this really wonderful, stabilizing experience at this youth group, especially led by this pastor, John Schmidt. Remember his name, it's going to be important later. So when we went, every Tuesday night I was going to this college service, and then over Thanksgiving, freshman year, Thanksgiving break, I lived close, so I didn't go home for Thanksgiving break. I was home. I already was, so I got to keep coming to this special college service. So we were there, and I look up on the stage, and guess who I saw?
Let her cry when the tears fall
Where's
down
my
like rain.
Where's my lighter? And we locked eyes. He was playing from the stage and saw me, and I was standing in the crowd and saw him, and then he just basically was singing to me for the rest of
Is that right?
for the rest of that service.
Oh, who did she see? She saw me. Yeah.
And who did you see? What was your, so that's my perspective. I'm looking up at him and I'm like, holy geez, he is so beautiful. And he had grown this goatee, which I had never seen before, which was every youth minister.
Oh, dude, it was a very 90s vibe.
Bon Jovi, basically.
So
Yes.
this my
Like
perspective was
Christian
this.
Bon Jovi.
So I'm playing guitar up there. I'm singing, and I sing a lot with my eyes closed, and
He
I
does.
open my
Gets
eyes,
really
and I
into
see Terry McCord
Maybe.
down there, and then all of a sudden in the middle of my song, I was like, Terry's here. Ooh, Terry's here. Whoa, that's Terry McCord. What's she doing at this Bible study? And it was hard for me to remember the words at that point because I was like,
Yep.
that's a hottie.
And what happened too is then they finished all their music, the service was over or whatever, and I just stayed where I was, and I was kind of to the back, I feel like, of the crowd of people, and he just walks off stage while he's looking at me and kind of goes through all the people and comes right to me. And by the way, but in his wake are all these girls following behind him too, so that's kind of fun.
I don't remember the story this way.
You didn't see it, they were behind you.
Ah, okay, that must be what the difference is.
It was like a magnet on his back. Like a
Chick magnet.
a gorgeous Christian man who is single at that point.
So why don't we pause it
Exciting.
here and we'll come back tomorrow.
Oh, it's such a cliffhanger.
I think it would be. But
Okay.
what are some things that from 0 to 18 or 19 that like what kind of sums that up for you?
What?
What kind of sums up that period of your life, which is basically your
0 to
entire
18
life? Yeah.
or 3 to 18? Like specifically relating
Sure.
to you?
Not a lot happened between 0 and 3. But a lesson that we can take into tomorrow.
Lessons?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that growing up is hard to do, and having a base of friendship, I would say, has served us incredibly well. We have very similar, deeply held values, which have actually changed a lot over time. That we have done closeness and distance before we were even a couple.
Yeah.
And then the warning I would say too is just because you've known someone since they're 3 doesn't mean that marriage is easy.
Oh, of
Either.
course. Yeah.
So
Good point.
I really
Yeah.
thought that maybe that was going to be the case, and it really wasn't.
Yeah, for me, when we finally got together, and spoiler alert, tomorrow we'll talk about the fact that we got married.
Oh, if you didn't know!
We did it!
Spoiler!
Oh!
Spoiler alert!
I went ahead and ripped the Band-Aid off. Left you on a cliffhanger, but then I went ahead and told you what happens on the next episode.
It's a teaser. Like, let's pretend like this is the teaser for tomorrow. Okay, smash cut. We're married.
Get it? Get with it? And so,
Looks like I'm flicking the camera off.
hey guys, check it out. I got a ring. Put a ring on it.
I'm not single anymore.
Why did you do that? So the thing that I learned is it kind of what you're saying is that now I can only think of the Eminem song. Back to reality. There goes gravity. Okay. Anyway, is that again we assumed at that point when we started dating. So at that point we connected at that Bible study, and we went on a date.
You're spoiling
okay,
it.
okay.
You haven't
But
asked
I
me
mean,
out yet.
okay, people will know. But what I'm saying is, like, we assumed that things would be easy.
Yeah.
And we assumed that things would be smooth because we've been friends our whole life. Why would it?
We're awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So why would there be any issues? And so that was kind of one of those lessons that we had to learn in the early days of us.
Yeah.
Was that there's still work to be done regardless of how friendly we were.
That's right.
Heading into it.
And our coping skills up to the age of 20, or really 19 and 20, or maybe 18. I think I had just turned 19 and you had not turned 20 yet. So we were both 19 when we saw each other at this college ministry event. So the thing is, though, we didn't like do a lot of self-reflection or self-work. And P.S., by the way, this was kind of pre-Oprah. So like I think of mental health in like pop psychology.
This is classic Oprah time.
Well, it was classic Oprah, but it hadn't gotten into the culture really. Like, we didn't really have a lot of coping strategies other than sing, go to church, which those are wonderful things, and athletics, I would say maybe. Those three options. We didn't really talk about deep feelings or fears or anxieties or name those kind of things, which makes a lot of sense, right? We were teenagers.
Yeah.
So bananas. We were teenagers. We did not have a fully formed frontal cortex.
I hear you saying this all a lot. We were babies. We
were tiny babies.
Amber's over here cracking me up.
I know.
You're going to tell us that you had kids? You started a morning show? All right. So, we wanted to... Oh! Did you hear that? Oh.
Do I still have front teeth?
I don't know.
Do I still have front teeth? Did you hear how hard I banked? Let me look and see if there's teeth in there. Seriously, hold on.
That sounded like it hurt.
Oh yeah, I still have teeth.
So we wanted to spend the next couple of days going through our story because it's our anniversary and we're just going to go there. We've been together 20 years, and so we want to celebrate that a little bit, but also talk about the lessons and maybe some stories along the way that we have learned. And so we want to do that, but we also want to spend some time focusing on the state of our world right now in a worldwide pandemic, about the things that we're struggling with. And so I hope that it was helpful in the beginning to talk about our emotions and our needs and the stages of grief. And we're going to continue on with that tomorrow. Yeah. But also I would love to talk about a few of the positive things that we're all seeing in the world.
You mean right now?
Yeah, just like, again...
During this crisis?
Yeah, during this crisis, during the pandemic, it's a tough, heavy time. But let's also focus on some of the things... We should end on a tip. Okay, sounds good.
I like that idea. What do you think? I think we should do that. So, one question that we had, we should just take a question from people at the end of the show, even if it has nothing to do with what we're necessarily talking about here. Somebody sent in a question yesterday.
And we had a question over on Facebook today as well.
Oh, did we?
Yes, we did.
We should scroll back and see what it is. So the question I had was, what do you do when you and your partner, who neither one used to work at home, now during this shelter in place, and by the way, Nashville has a shelter in place order right now, which means for 14 days, you can only leave for like essentials or emergencies or that kind of stuff. So what do you do when formerly you both worked out of the house and now you both work in the house, and stress and tensions, feelings, all that kind of stuff are already high enough, and then you're also trying to co-work and you might not have enough space to do that? Like in our house, we don't have an office. There, like we could go in the garage, I guess, if you really needed to, or sit in your car.
We do now.
We have, I'll show them. It's a disgusting kind of desk right now, but like we just set up a little home office. And if you can see that desk, the chair on the corner, I even sit on the corner of the desk, watch your foot, when I'm doing therapy sessions. So if for some reason dog or child had an emergency and crashed in, no one could see my clients' faces, but
privacy first.
We were not planning on doing that. And the tough thing about both of our jobs too, as mental health professionals, as clinicians, therapists, is when we're on, we're on. When I'm spending that hour with clients, I can't be doing any other thing. It's face to face, it's video. So I can't also be like watching kids or playing with my dog or folding clothes. It's not like I'm on calls or just like data entry, filling out emails or doing marketing and that kind of stuff. Not that any of those things are any easier per se, but one of the things in the question that was asked is this wife in the couple is a therapist. Husband isn't and can do, I don't remember what business he's in, but some sort of business professional where he can like send emails and occasionally have client calls and that kind of thing, but has a different kind of job. However, because she watches their child or children, I'm going to say both so that it's not identifying, in the moments when she is home, that's the default that has been picked up. And so she's had a really hard time getting on teletherapy, which is like online therapy. It's just called teletherapy because of, it doesn't matter. So the teacher in me is like, you need to understand the history and the background. Doesn't matter. Teletherapy. So she has been having to try and manage kids and then also trying to move her whole practice online. And one of the things I was saying is to her, and then I wanted to share with you, is the first thing that needs to happen when everything is different and everything is starting to change is you need to touch base and have a conversation with your partner about that you're both going to need to adjust as much as you can. That maybe her partner in this situation isn't used to providing care for their children during his work day, but that's going to be something that's going to need to change if they're both going to be able to make it through this period. And we're not quite sure how long it's gonna last. So even if you could manage and just kind of like get by in certain ways, I would highly recommend that you don't do that. That you don't just try and like throw your arm against it and like push through and just try as hard as you can, but stop and have a conversation. Even us, that took me like a couple days to realize, oh, we probably should have a conversation about this, because I was just scheduling clients, you were scheduling clients, and then we would find like, we have a session at the same time. What if the dog needs something, the kids need something? And we are, I think, kind of lucky at this point to have old enough kids. We don't have like toddlers or infants right now, so we're not having to do physical sort of tangible care in the same way as if you've got little ones, and you can't hire sitters or any of that sort of thing. So even your childcare options are off the table. What do you do? How do you have an open conversation about that? It's a good time to talk about your roles too. And it might be difficult if you're in a relationship where you've taken more sort of complementarian, traditional roles, where like, this is what I'm seeing a good bit of, where the female partner in a traditional heterosexual sort of relationship tends to work from home and then also still manage a lot of the child care responsibilities, or cooking, cleaning, that sort of thing. Y'all, this isn't the time for that. Even if that's still a deeply held value system of yours, I'm not questioning that. You get to have whatever your value system is. However, in this day and age, maybe a little talk about how you can share and balance some of those responsibilities a little bit more will take some of the pressure off of both of you, off of both people. Anything you want to add to that? Talk about it, set expectations. I was going to say too, one of the suggestions I had is you can schedule sessions or work or phone calls during kids' nap times or after people go to bed. It's very non-traditional. Like seeing clients at 8 p.m. after your kids go to bed might not be ideal, but it is an option also. Or if you're a single parent and trying to manage things on your own too, like there are ways that you can manage your schedule in this day and age that can be super helpful.
Communicate is what I would say.
Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't want to be a burden, you listen, you're not a burden. You got to get over that sort of, do you like that as a therapist? I'm like, you just need to get over it. Just stop it. But honestly, bringing these things up and having these conversations are essential so that you don't end up in a worse spot. Your mental health can really suffer if you're not talking about some of the frustrations, fears, and anxieties that are happening inside.
So we'll bounce now, but tomorrow, that kind of leads us into the other question that we got from Facebook this morning, which is essentially, what happens when your partner is not responsive to a lot of that communication?
Oh, that's a great
and recognizing
question.
some of those emotions. So
I think I saw Amy ask that. Thank you. It's a great question. Amy.
And I think that she had to bounce off to head into to do something else. But
we'll catch her tomorrow.
So we will talk about that tomorrow.
And pick up our story. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. So I want you all to go, know that you're loved, know that we are all in this together. And I can't wait to read the comment because
Amber cracks me up.
Yeah. But go, you got this. Thank you for being here this morning.
You.
We all love you. Yeah.
Hey, give yourself a little bit of extra grace and mercy here. None of this is normal.
Oof.
It's not vacation.
You said it, girl.
Yeah. I was journaling yesterday. I took a picture of it and sent it to my sister, and then I posted on Facebook just the first line of my journal and just said, good freaking Lord. Like, that is legit. Like, get it up and out. It's better out than in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Pull all that stuff out of you. It's better to talk about it. Communicate.
Enjoy yourselves.
Send us any questions you have. I didn't get
Breathe.
any questions on Ask a Therapist this week, so I would love to know any questions that you have and hear about that. It's an also important reminder for thinking about when to schedule in the client's best interest in their schedule. Yeah, your clients are going to have a special time too. Invite, if they have little kids, I've been doing couples work and their kids have been bouncing around in the session if they can't understand yet. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of different things that you can do. I should probably put some tips together about how to help with that. Would that be helpful? You guys just let me know.
I would like it, yeah.
I'll just email you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll just send a quick memo to my husband.
Dude, okay.
Memo.
Bye, guys. We love you.
We love you.
Have
a wonderful day. It's our anniversary week, so we're going to keep talking about our story this week. And we'll probably bookend the story with things we want to talk about on the front end. And then on the back end, we'll answer some questions that you both have.
Oh, hey, can I just say this too? This little shameless promotion here. If you are enjoying this, if you get a lot out of this and know somebody else who will as well,
Why not?
you know, tag a person or two in this so that we can continue to help as many people as we can. Let's grow the community. Again, we don't do this without you being here. And so if you know somebody who would benefit from this as well, reach out to them and let them know that we are here every morning, Monday through Friday, 7-ish.
It's like mom and dad kissing in front of you. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Bye, guys.
We love you guys. See
Tell
you in the morning.
See you soon.
Bye.
Later. You got this.